Well, that kind of sucked. What's up, Kevin James? How you doing? Technical difficulties threw us off. We were having a good discussion about player loyalty. Listen, we're trying something new here. Alice, how you doing? On Lola TV. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm trying. Joe Biden in the house. What's up, Joe? Take me out to dinner. Bong. Bing bong. There it is. Bing bong. Joe Biden, take me out to dinner. All right. That was. I'm gonna try this Lola TV. It's my first time doing it. If it unexpectedly cancels again, then hey, so be it. We gotta deal with what we gotta deal with. Let me see. Great. Do you think Kobe is top 5? I have Kobe. Now, for those that don't know, I have this man right here. The signed jerseys over there. Kobe's my favorite player of all time. Kobe's my favorite player of all time. Then it's Magic. I'm a lifelong Laker fan. That's no ands, if, or buts about it. So I have Kobe at 5. But I'm okay. I understand. Daily Hoops, what's up? I understand people having Kobe, at 1, at 2, at 3, at 4, at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, I have people make great cases. My co-host, Chilltown 32 on Fluent and Chill, Thursday nights at 9 on Chilltown Hoops. He's got him 11. I have a huge problem with that. But when he makes his case, I understand his thinking. I don't like his thinking, but I understand his thinking, and I tell him.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
And so if it's not ridiculous, if you make a good case, then I'm with you. Listen, I make my case for what I believe, but it doesn't mean that I can't listen or understand your perspective or your opinion. I respect everyone's opinion. Celtics own the Lakers. The Celtics haven't owned the Lakers since, I don't know, like the 60s. And listen, we're 17-17, and you're very lucky that we've been dealing with some injuries over the last couple of years, because let's be honest, we should have another one. With LeBron and AD, we should have another one. All right. Who do I have 1 through 4? Robert Piercy, what? Where? Who? When? How? In the East? In the West? In the NFL? I'll tell you. The live looks good. Maybe better than usual. Oh, that's because I got better lighting. And I'm using Lola TV. Check out Lola TV. I don't know. I was going to do a bad commercial, Monty. But yeah, Lola TV. It cut me off, though. I will say this, Monty, before. I hope it looks good. But let me tell you, I was 30 minutes in, and an unexpected error happened, and it booted me out. So if that happens again, it might be the last time it looks this good on Lola TV. He has him 11. That's crazy. Yes, Kevin, he has him 11. It's nuts. But his 10, when he makes a case for them, LeBron, Jordan, Magic, Bird, Hakeem, Shaq, Wilt, Russell, there's Duncan. There's cases for all of them, right? Like that's the thing. I think most people have the same kind of 5 typically, or the same 4, right? Most people I know have some version of Jordan, LeBron, Kareem. Then there's some mix of Magic, Bird, Wilt, Shaq, and then it's a mixture again of the Russell, Kobe, Olajuwon, Duncan. Like there's legit, Curry's now in that conversation. So there's that 12 or 13. Someone's gonna be upset with your top 10. Someone's gonna be outside of your top 10. I have Bill Russell outside of my top 10, and people are like, "That's crazy." But is it crazy to have Bill Russell out of my top 10? I can make a better case for everybody else, and I can make a case for Russell. Don't get me wrong, but I can make a better case for everybody else, and that's really what it comes down to. Is it is subjective. All right. Who Robert Piercy? I'm telling you, man, I will give you my 1 through 4. Tell me, oh, you mean like greatest NBA players? If you're talking about NBA players, I've got Jordan, LeBron, Magic. No, sorry. No, my apologies. Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Magic. That's my 4. Shout out to the Fired Up Network. Go check out Fired Up Network at Fired Up Net. That's where I do Mondays and Tuesdays at noon. We do, it just started today, actually. We do the noon. Mike, I don't even know what the name of it's a new show. We just started it today. But at noon, we do like a sports update. We talk about all the Sunday night games. Tomorrow we'll be on at noon talking Eastern, talking about the game that I'm watching right here on my phone as I'm talking, the Seahawks and the Broncos. And then I do crunching the numbers if you're into sports betting, mostly football, but we're bringing in some others as well. Yo, Fluent, huge fan. These week 1 games are insane. Yes, mythical. They are absolutely have been crazy. Let me know if you have any specific questions. So crunching the numbers for betting, that comes out on Thursdays on the Fired Up Network. And then Fantasy Grill. So again, right now we're talking mostly fantasy football, but we will talk fantasy basketball as that season starts to get closer. Why did they never call offensive fouls on Shaq? Can someone answer that for me? They absolutely called offensive fouls on Shaq, but here's the thing. Shout out to Adriel Garcia. Give him a follow on Instagram at Adriel Garcia FR. He is the star of the TV pilot, the comedy that I was in, Dem Ones. It's a cool cat. If they called every offensive foul on Shaq, because he did, he was big and strong and he dropped his shoulder a lot. But if they called every offensive foul on Shaq, they would have had to call every defensive foul against Shaq. And then he'd be going to the line about 150 times a game. And we would all say, this game sucks. And we would stop watching the NBA. So they had to let some of those offensive fouls go, just like they let some of those defensive fouls against him go. They had to. Now, was it even? Was it fair? I don't know. But trust me, they left as many offensive ones go as they did defensive. Kobe is 5. Yes, 1 through 4. Yes, sorry. So, I have Kobe there as well. 1 through 4. As I mentioned, Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, and then I got Kobe. Chilltown, thanks for joining, brother. No, he is 3rd best center at best. Are we talking about Shaq? Shaq is the 3rd best center at best. Who do I got over? Well, I got Kareem over him. I've got Wilt, I believe. I probably have to check my top 10. As I've told you guys before, I have a terrible memory. So let's see. So I have Wilt and Kareem over Shaq. I flip flop. I'm not gonna lie. I flip flop between Olajuwon and Shaq because Shaq was more dominant. Hakeem was more skilled and a better two-way player offensively and defensively. And he did more with less, right? Shaq had the benefit of Kobe and Phil Jackson. He had the benefit of Wade and Pat Riley. So Shaq benefited, again, good for him. But I think Olajuwon that's why they flip-flop for me. Solid. Thank you. I appreciate it. Why does everyone have that casual top 5? I don't think it's when it's a consensus, it's not a casual, Bo. Who's your top 5, Bo? Tell us your 5. Big Pontiac. Greetings. What's up, sir? Because it's the correct top 5. Thank you, Chill. Because they're the 5 best. You could put Bill or Bird, but you can listen again. Like I said, you can make a case for those guys. The correct top 5. Let's see. The correct top 5. So let's see. Bo Ballin has Wilt, I'm assuming at 1, which is insane. A guy who has a losing record in the NBA Finals. A guy who played in an era that did not have a lot of competition, but had good competition. And a guy who, if you look at what he did in the playoffs, significantly worse than what it was in the regular season. And a guy who couldn't shoot free throws. That's your number 1 greatest player of all time. I'd love to know why. He then has Bill, so Russell. So again, So now championships matter. They obviously don't at number one. Then Larry. So I don't even know the thinking there. Magic and Kareem. Sounds like you really like old school basketball and old school centers. There's a bit of a bias there. When you don't have LeBron, you don't have Jordan, you don't. It's an interesting five. It's an interesting five. Been following you on TikTok as well. Great content. Thank you, Anthony Stokes. Welcome to the chat. I'm trying something new, guys, so I hope you like it. This is for the next couple of weeks. I can't do the 8 o'clock live with Chilltown 32, which we used to do it from 8 p.m. until 9. I have a previous engagement that I have to attend to. If you must know, it's my kids' swimming lessons, and I have to take them, and I can't do it from there. So for the next 8 weeks, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to jump on Fluent at night, what I'm calling it, and just kind of jump on with you guys from 9:30 to 10:30, and when Chill can stay up, he's like me. We got to go to bed early, but when he can stay up, he's going to join us in the chat. Chill, if I could find a way to bring you on, man, I will. I still got to work on this Lola TV. It might be the first and last time I use it. All right. But thanks for joining. Absolutely not both played in weak eras of expansion teams. Oh, the expansion teams. All right. Let me ask you a question. This goes out to Bo or to anybody else. When you try to knock a player for playing in expansion eras, do you also take into account, one, that each time there's been expansions, they've also brought in more international talent, which increases the talent pool? Two, the teams. Do you look at the teams, their wins and losses? Do you look at the expansion draft that actually only takes away the bottom players, like the 15th, 13th, 14th, which don't even play really? Right? There's never been a team that has lost their best player in an expansion draft. So do you look at the records of those expansion teams? Do you see how quickly they become good? Do you see that there were still teams before the expansion that were losing that many games that were terrible? Like, do you look at today and say, well, although it's not an expansion era today, you have more superstars who have come together to play together. So that makes there less great teams. So as an example, in the olden days, during the expansion era of let's say the 80s and 90s, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving would never have played on the same team, right? They would play on separate teams trying to beat each other. And now those teams each have one superstar versus two. LeBron, Wade, and Bosh wouldn't have come together on one team. They would have kept Cleveland, Toronto, Miami, and they would have tried to surround themselves with secondary players to battle each other. Do you take any of those things into consideration, or do you just look at on the surface and say, well, there was 10 teams, so it was really good, and now there's 30 teams, so it's bad? Curious. All right. Ouch. That was my elbow popping. Kid, you know what? Can I ask someone in the chat? I want to ask you something. Can you guys hear this? Bing bong. I have this great soundboard, but I have been hesitant to use it because I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. I know it works on our lives when we do Fluent and Chill, 9 p.m. Have I said that enough? On Thursdays on Chilltown Hoops. Let's see. No Bill. For my top 5, Robert? No Bill. Yeah, Bill Russell's not. Bill Russell's not in my top 10. I know. It was a hard decision to make, but I had to. MJ couldn't hang with the 80s team. He was lucky they added expansion teams. All right. Bo, now you're getting just like interesting. Michael Jordan was the greatest player in the 80s. Period. Full stop. But his team could not compete because they were trash. I think you forget the team he was drafted to was being more people were going to the indoor Chicago soccer team games than the Bulls games when he was drafted in 84. And he didn't play but 18 games in year 2. So by the time he actually got teammates, 87, 88, yeah, it took them a couple years to get together. And just so happens it was the 90s when they took off. But who did win in the 80s? Well, you had the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Sixers. Those are the only teams that won in the 80s. So expansion or no expansion, there was 23 other teams. So every player on those other 23 teams are just trash. No, it's those teams had the best. The 76ers had Dr. J, an MVP, and added Moses Malone, an MVP from Houston. So that's what they had to do to win a title against what was the Lakers and the Celtics were doing. Like you really need to go back and look at the full dynamic before you say one player couldn't get it done, couldn't hang in an era. That it's not a good take. All right, here we go. Question from Anthony Stokes. Who's really a better overall player between Shaq and Hakeem? I say Hakeem. Complete. I was having this conversation like 7 minutes ago. Yes, that's why I flip flop with Shaq and Hakeem when I rank my centers, when I do my top 10, whatever. It's because when I looked, Shaq was more dominant. I've said that before. Shaq has more rings. He got 4 rings, and that does matter. And there was never more physical presence. But when I look at Hakeem had more skill, better footwork, was a better shooter, could hit free throws, was a better post-up player, was a better overall offensive player, was definitely a better defensive player, did more with less, winning those back-to-back championships in Houston with a supporting cast. I know Drexler came that second year, but wasn't the same Drexler that was in Portland. But that first year especially, Hakeem did so much with less. So yeah, it's I really struggle with that one because it's like dominance over skill, and I flip flop. But I every time I think about it, I talk myself back into Shaq. Sorry, I talk myself back into Hakeem. I keep putting Shaq there because he was so dominant, but then I keep talking when I talk about it, I keep saying Hakeem. Shaq has no rebound titles, no defensive player of the year, 1 MVP, and 1 scoring title. Yep. If that's true, yep. Like I said, I got to look those up. Wilt is not top 5. Don't think he's even top 10. Oh, I don't know. I don't have Wilt top 5, but I think the way he dominated his peers has to account for something. Has to. Was he a great teammate? Was he a great person? Those are probably all no's. But what he did, here's a guy in Will that like I keep saying he didn't actually exist, right? Like me and Chill have this ongoing joke that he never actually existed. He's a mythological like being because the things that he did are just you don't even believe him. I don't care who he was playing against. It's literally almost, I shouldn't say literally because it's not, it's almost unbelievable, but it actually did happen. It's crazy what Wilt did. And Wilt's a guy that if Wilt was pulled out of the 60s and dropped in today's NBA, would be just fine. He's just as athletic, if not more, than any of the players playing today. He can get up the court. He could obviously dominate down low, block shots, defend, score on the block. People forget, go check out his fadeaway, his turnaround fadeaway. Nasty, especially for a guy he's never seen anyone else do it before, right? And yet he was doing it, right? His jumping ability, he could like to think that he, a guy that you can easily say would dominate. Wow, earthquake that could dominate today. That dominated 80. What the 60s was 80 years? No, 60 years ago. My math stinks. 60 years ago. That's insane. So Bill can't be in the top 10. Bill can be in the top 10. Absolutely. Bill Russell can absolutely be in your top 10. He's just not in mine because I can make a better case for others. That's all. And that's no disrespect to Bill. I can make the case for Bill Russell so fast, so easy, so clean, because he's listen, and especially now that he passed away, we're talking about him a lot. 13 years in the league, 12 times he goes to the NBA final, wins 11 of them, 2 as the coach and best player on the team. When you look at his numbers, I always tell people don't look at his numbers necessarily, because he is, his 17 points per game, top 10 back then. His 43%, whatever it is, field goal percent, top 10.